get ready here. We're going to share the whole guy here. And we're going to start with this amazing tool some of you might recognize. And I'm just going to start with the screenshot so that I can draw boxes on it, and then I'll move over to an interactive version. And so just kind of setting the stage for where we are at the moment in the story here. We've already signed up and we've started our smart chat, and we did that through a prompt on our homepage, and we've already uploaded files and all that kind of stuff. So we're rather, we're a couple of steps deep into our experience is the state of the UI at this point. And at the top right, you can see, and hopefully most of this is very familiar, that I'm logged in as this guy, Derek. And I could click on my profile and then I can edit settings and things like that. And so any preferences you set, we would honor those, whether you're on this device or you move to your phone or some other device. Those types of things would come across. Something else that's a little different here is that I'm not alone. I can play with my colleagues. And so in this particular chat, I have two of my coworkers have joined me in this chat. They may be just lurking and reading, or they could be commenting, or they might be writing their own prompts as to kind of dig into some insights that came out in this journey. And the way that they got here is that I shared a link with them. I can click that button, copy it, and Slack it to them, or send an email, etc. So where are we? Well, up at the top left here, we are in a workspace. And current thinking, and I should preface everything I'm saying is current thinking, and that's one of the things that I and we would really appreciate from you today is your feedback on current thinking. And current thinking here is that we are in an organization. And so if you were to click this icon, you could go home to kind of the top level of your company and whatever you have access to. And in this particular case, we're in a folder that we've created called strategic accounts. And so you would be able to organize kind of a hierarchical structure if you so choose. And we're in an MBRs, or monthly business reviews, kind of directory inside strategic accounts. And so this is the workspace that we're in. And the concept of a workspace allows us to have a chat and save it somewhere. And so it can be completely different from my Dungeons and Dragons private workspace, or maybe some hiring activity I have would probably have a different folder structure here. And so this particular conversation, this or thread has been the word that we've been using. This particular thread is inside this MBRs. And so I could share an entire workspace with you, and you can see all of the chats that we've had and we've saved there. And so as we start to work with our colleagues, we can see that I, in this case, Derek, have asked this question, and this was my prompt. And we can see the text answer that we got back. And one of the things that we believe is important is to have rich media and interesting visuals, if you will. Not everybody enjoys reading a lot of text. And so obviously we want a concise and succinct answer as much as possible. But to represent that data through tables, through charts, sometimes it might be imagery. And so we really want to make this easy to digest for humans. And sometimes that might be that we've chose to render a table. Sometimes it might be because your preference that you've set way up here in the top hand corner was, I prefer to see charts and graphs or tabular data. And so once we understand your preference, wherever we believe that the data, in this case, we can see that there's some facts in here like 500,000, 475, that this represents itself well in some kind of a table structure. Now, a moment ago, I shared that the entire workspace or thread can be shared, but you can also share just one individual insight or answer. And so maybe maybe I've been chatting in here for a half hour, but this, finally, this was the thing that I was like, aha, that's what I want to share with Tony. And so I can copy the link here and just share that with you. But maybe before I do that, I want to take a moment to rewrite. And so maybe this particular, maybe it was too verbose, or maybe it wasn't in the voice of the CEO, or there could be many reasons that we might want to rewrite the result. And so when you click on this button, we're envisioning a flyout that will come out with various rewrite options, and you can pick one, and the prompt would kind of refresh itself with that rewritten data. And that's a good opportunity for me to talk about kind of the temporal nature of this information, or how it might change over time. And so we're writing the system in such a way that if we call this version A, and you come down here and you write version B, well, maybe version B wasn't better than version A, and it will be very easy for you to kind of step back to version A. Or maybe you wanted to add or remove data that was considered when this particular answer came back. And so as you go to version C, because you turned off data or turned on data, you'd be able to step back and forth, even though your prompt hasn't changed, but you would be able to kind of play with it and get the best out of that as you change the parameters. We're thinking that it might be helpful for you to bookmark or save or star a particular prompt. And kind of some of the current thinking here is that as we're in this MBR workspace and we've been writing these prompts, maybe 3 out of 5 of them are ones that we want to discard and throw away. And so perhaps there's a mechanism like starring that allows us to save those as we end our session, and go home to the kids' baseball game or whatever you've got. But then when you come back tomorrow, maybe it's only those prompts you saved. And again, that can be a preference that you turn on or off. The ability to comment on these insights and answers. So maybe I shared this with my colleagues, and they are currently down here having a conversation, saying, well, what are we going to do about this? What do we learn? And that conversation can be connected directly to the data that sourced the insight and the insight itself. And then some things that you might expect, of course, like just the ability to copy everything and run off to some other program. The ability to go to additional actions. So behind this menu, perhaps there are additional export options. So maybe you want this information to be automatically put into a PowerPoint. And by us generating macros, and because you've also uploaded your brand guidelines, and we know your color is blue 52, and whatever corporate branding it is, that we can consider that in the PowerPoint that we've generated. Or maybe you've just provided a template for us to use. Or maybe you want to export this information to a CSV file, or depends on kind of what problems you're solving, but that there would be more ways to get this content out of Storytell versus just kind of a copy and pasting and doing all that manual work that we're doing today. And then down here at the bottom, this is an example of how we might offer suggestions to continue the conversation. And so one example here is maybe we would have a different prompt here that would allow you to solicit a shorter response. Maybe there's a prompt here that encourages you to dig into more detail, or maybe there's one here which we propose a related question that you might ask. And so you could click on this, or if you're a keyboard warrior, we're envisioning that there might be a 1, 2, or 3 here. And so you could just hit 3. And maybe you ask one question and then you just keep hitting 3 as we propose additional ways to continue that journey. And you can just kind of sit back and just kind of see where the machine takes you, for 4 or 5 or 6 different prompts. And then lastly, and I'll just quickly go through some other things here, and then I want to stop sharing so I can see your faces and kind of get your feedback. But a bunch of other controls for that workspace. So the ability to upload knowledge to one workspace versus another workspace. So it doesn't necessarily have to be shared with everybody in your organization. Maybe that you're working on an acquisition deal and only a few people in the company can know about that. And so you invite them to that room. The ability to organize actions in those workflows, those can belong to a workspace. Having insights and kind of just gathering all of the insights that have come from this workspace. and also the ability to set certain settings. So one workspace might be all about content writing and you want to define the voice for this content. And another workspace might be all about analytics and the ability to kind of tune the workspace so you don't have to come up with these, detailed prompts all the time. And then lastly, the ability to interact with and turn on and turn off files and find files and upload files all on the left-hand side here. And then lastly, down here at the bottom, this ever-present chat prompt. So you type in there and it kind of, you can imagine this whole UI is a feed, which continues to scroll down as you go from prompt to prompt to prompt.